When I was a kid, I had three heroes in my life: John Cena, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. I would watch them along with my other favorite WWE superstars wrestle and do outrageous things for my entertainment on TV every week. I would practice my RKO on my rather large teddy bear and even go to some of the live events when they were in town. As an excitable 11-year-old boy, WWE was my life. But as I got older and started to grow up, WWE seemed to fade away as quickly as I discovered it. Now here I am, a decade later in my 20s, and seemingly out of nowhere, this little thing called WWE is finding a way to quickly crawl back into my life. Let's talk about it. Is it just me, or have you guys also been seeing a lot of clips from WWE recently? Like, I'll just be chilling on TikTok or something, and I'll randomly be bombarded with Logan Paul doing a flip through a table, or ISHO Speed getting bodied by a spear. Or even in other non-WWE related content, I'll see a meme of this guy, or even this guy. Get it? Because John Cena. But it kind of came out of nowhere. I was a huge WWE fan when I was a kid. I remember I used to beg my parents to buy the upcoming pay-per-view because I was so invested in if Rey Mysterio was going to win back custody of his kid or not. Naturally, my parents would not spend that money, but I would still be glued to my TV after school for Monday Night Raw to see what happened at that pay-per-view. Even though I knew it was scripted, something about the quirkiness of WWE and the emotional connection I had with characters really pulled me in as a kid. Mix that with non-stop physicality, drama, and action, and I was there. 10-year-old me was hooked. But as I became older, it kind of became less and less cool to be into pro wrestling. Entering middle school, my friends became more interested in football or girls, and less interested in The Undertaker coming back to life to attack CM Punk. So I stopped watching. And that brings us to today, or 12 months ago, I guess. This time last year, I watched WWE for the first time in a decade. Now, there's a lot that went into this. I didn't just randomly decide to turn it on out of the blue. The year was 2022, and I hadn't thought about WWE since I was a kid. A large part of me honestly forgot it existed. That was until clips on social media revealed to me that none other than Logan Paul had joined the WWE. Over the next couple years, I would keep seeing clips of Logan in the WWE doing some crazy stuff. And say what you want about the guy, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. But yeah, I still wasn't tuning into WWE. I was just seeing it pop up every now and then. And it's not because I thought it was weird or uncool. I was definitely at a point in my life where I didn't care about that anymore. There just wasn't anything that I'd seen that was really demanding my attention. That was until the spring of 2024 when The Rock came back. Now, I promise this isn't just some nerdy nostalgia. I wasn't even alive when The Rock was popular in WWE. So on face value, I shouldn't care about this. But there was some tea to Mr. Johnson's presence. Okay, so this guy, Cody Rhodes, has a very interesting history with the WWE. He was around when I was a kid, but I didn't really remember him because he wasn't that big of a star. So because of that, in 2016, he left the company and made a name for himself in smaller promotions around the world. So after failing in his first run with the company, he came back in 2022 as a reinvented version of himself. And Cody at this time was loved by fans. So in 2024, he won the Royal Rumble, which if you don't know is basically a big match that gets you the right to face the champion at WWE's biggest show of the year, Wrestlemania. And the champion at that time was this guy, Roman Reigns, who at the time had held the title for over 1,300 days. Which, if you think that's a long time, it is. It was kind of a big deal. So everyone's super excited about this mega match until The Rock is bored after a couple of his movies flopped. So he comes back and steals Cody's spot in the match. You heard that right. The Rock, who was supposed to be a good guy in the WWE, pulled up and was like, actually, Roman, I'm gonna face you at WrestleMania instead of Cody. And in character, Cody was like, yeah, that's cool with me. What really happened is in real life, a few months before that, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had joined the board of directors at WWE. And he wanted to come back and face his cousin Roman since they assumed it'd bring a bunch of eyeballs and money. So basically, Cody got screwed out of finishing his story because of real world circumstances and The Rock real world low bro in him. And what happened next has to be one of the coolest things that I've seen in media, and is honestly the key factor that made me feel that wrestling bug again. After the Rock segment, the fans were pissed. Everyone ran to Twitter and started voicing their disappointment with the company basically obliterating Cody's moment and storyline, and called the move nothing but a cheap cash grab. The WWE had already been experiencing a bit of a resurgence because of Cody Rhodes and the great storytelling they were doing with him. So to the diehard fans, them throwing all that away just felt like a slap in the face. Hashtag We Want Cody started trending on Twitter, and WWE was in some pretty hot water, so they leaned into it. That's right. The Hollywood superstar The Rock turned heel and became a bad guy for the first time since 2003. So real-world pushback from the fans led to genuine creative change and forced the WWE to pivot the main event of WrestleMania and remove The Rock from the match to reinsert Cody Rhodes. Insane. So Rock joins forces with Roman in order to squash Cody for stealing their moment. And after months of intense build-up and anticipation, I watched my first WWE show in over a decade. And what would you know? He did it.
1, 2, 3. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
He finished the story!
So my first time watching wrestling since I was a kid, Cody finished his story, and now is the time that I reveal something to you all. Ever since then, I have been obsessed with the WWE. They got me, bro. They got me. I just watched a $9 billion company with a whole team of producers and writers get forced to change a storyline midway through because of some wrestling fans on Twitter who became loud enough for their voices to be heard and acknowledged. I don't know about you, but to me, that's beautiful. They just capped off a story that had aspects of 10 years worth of storytelling. And the fans who stuck around for those years were rewarded with a payoff that made it feel like they were a part of the story. Because they were. One time when I was a kid, my parents took me to a WWE event called SummerSlam when it was in LA. Even though it was so long ago and I barely remember anything from when I was 10, I vividly remember going to the event and meeting both CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. I wore a replica of Rey Mysterio's mask and asked him to sign it while I was wearing it, and he was super nice about it, and now I forever have a core memory of that moment. I think that's one of the reasons that makes wrestling so special. As a kid, being able to finally meet this guy who I saw as my hero, and meeting him in character at an event felt like I became part of the show. That interactive relationship between fiction and fan is part of what makes wrestling what it is. But honestly, that raises the question, is that cool? As an adult, I don't really talk about my love for wrestling because people think it's weird. Whenever I tell someone I watch WWE, I always get the same response. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I used to watch that when I was a kid. Isn't it all fake though? And there's always this big sense of judgment, which I really want to understand. Are these people a small, ignorant minority of the general public? Or does what they say have some merit? Maybe wrestling is kind of weird or kind of childish, or honestly maybe not that cool. Are there other people like me that are being pulled back into WWE for the reasons I've listed? Or am I just weird for thinking that those things could be cool in the first place? I think in order to answer these questions, we have to talk to both people in the know and not in the know of WWE. Now you might be asking, Sweeney, why are you outside? Oh, that's my car. We're going to Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41. Alright, I'm going to WrestleMania so I can see it firsthand. I need to find out if that feeling that I had when I was in the crowd as a kid is going to be the same. So I guess let's go find out. Tammy, you excited for WrestleMania?
Yes, very.
Alright, here's the plan. As I alluded to earlier, I think the best way to determine if WWE is cool or not is to dissect 3 categories: public perception, fan perception, and personal perception. So we need to find out what the general public, wrestling diehards, and additionally I think about the WWE. WrestleMania is actually a 2-night event, so we can interview each group of people on different days. So before the show tonight, I'll go out on the strip and ask random people what they think about pro wrestling and what they think about adults who still watch it. And tomorrow we'll ask people outside the stadium who are going to WrestleMania what their thoughts are. Is wrestling this super cool passion to them, or is it this guilty pleasure they're kind of embarrassed to talk about? Okay, we're all set. Now all we gotta do is buy some tickets. Oh, what? Okay, change of plans. It's fine, that's the price for 2 nights. We'll just get tickets for the second night, which is the bigger night anyways, and tonight we'll go watch it at a bar. Stay with me. We're in Vegas for WrestleMania weekend, so there's gonna be a ton of watch parties. And I think this will actually be really cool. Obviously, I'll be filming my experience watching the show on both nights. And now we'll be able to get a wider scope of the wrestling fan experience. Watching at a bar with other wrestling fans, and watching in the stadium live at the event. All right, let's go ask some questions. Hey guys, it's me, Sweeney. Unfortunately, nobody wants to talk to me. Thanks for a quick video.
I can't, man. I gotta.
Crazy, right? So instead, I'm just gonna interview a bunch of my friends who I know do not watch wrestling.
Okay, I just want to see if I can ask you a couple questions for a video.
Oh yeah, what's up?
What do you think about WWE?
Don't bring this shit up. That's like the fake wrestling shit, right?
It's just not really something on my radar.
It's like male soap operas, but live.
Never something that's really captured my imagination.
Shit as hell is gay.
Do you think it's weird to watch as an adult, or do you think it's like a cool thing?
No, I don't think it's weird at all, no.
I think if you're of the age of 10, you shouldn't be watching it, and after that, you're just, you might be a pedophile.
No, I think it's cool.
Weird and childish.
I don't think it's weird necessarily.
I feel like it's entertainment that doesn't really have an age to it.
Bro, because it's fake, like it's scripted, ain't no punches thrown. You can really be watching some real shit and watch UFC. Like that's some real shit right there.
Man, I think WWE's tight as hell.
No, you're a pedophile.
Alright, thank you, that's all I did. So it seems like there's some mixed opinions. You have some people who think it's cool, even though they don't watch it themselves, but they kind of see why people would like it. And then you have other people who don't watch it at all, but they hate it. They think it's corny, they think it's fake, and most of all, they think it's weird. But again, public perception is just one part of the equation. So maybe we have to go experience wrestling with actual wrestling fans to see if it's cool, if it's a fun time, or if it's weird and boring. But yeah, let's go.
Woo, we're at the bar. Tammy and I were super excited for WrestleMania, so we got some drinks, we got some food, and we were ready to go. Not gonna lie, this place was packed with wrestling fans. They even started chanting before the show started. So the energy was high, and we were ready for the first match, which featured this guy, Jey Uso, who happens to be one of mine and Tammy's favorites. Here's her excited. It was a great match, but for some reason the bar seemed worried about our retention, so they put footage of a mouse running through a maze under the TV like it was a Subway Surfers TikTok. Anyways, Jay ended up winning, everyone was happy, except for the bartender who was definitely confused by everything going on. And there were a bunch of cool matches throughout the night, one of which featured this guy, El Grande Americano, who is basically just a fake Mexican wrestler, and Tammy was not rocking with the cultural appropriation. But everything was honestly building towards the main event of night one, a three-way match between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Oh my gosh, why does he have a flamethrower? This match actually has a lot of lore, so sit tight, here's the 30-second recap. So these guys, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, are beefing heavy over this old man, Paul Heyman. Paul is basically like a father figure to them, and now that Roman and Punk are beefing, Paul is basically caught in the middle with both of them vying for his undivided love and attention. Now, there's this guy, Seth Rollins, who has eternal beef with Roman and Punk, but Seth, over the past month, has been trying to convince Paul that Punk and Roman don't really care about him, and Paul should just ditch him. So we have this weird, messed up love diamond with three guys that all hate each other. Let's see him fight. CM Punk's actually one of my favorite wrestlers ever, and I think a lot of other people in that bar share that with me. It was honestly really cool how lively the energy was in there. Even though we weren't at the actual event, the wrestling fans made it feel pretty close to it. But the match started and they were going crazy. Everyone in the bar was invested, and that made it way scarier when in the middle of the match, the TV stream blacked out. As I've mentioned, it seems like WWE really prioritizes storytelling now, and that was most definitely the case in this match. And it all built to the moment where everyone was down and Paul Heyman had a choice to make. That's right, you just heard our hearts break as Paul Heyman turned on his best friend, CM Punk. But it wasn't over yet. Paul Heyman turned on his two best friends in the world for Seth Rollins, and the bad guys end up on top. I'll hold majority of my analysis until the end of the video, but honestly, I had a great time. I love the energy in the bar, and the fans made it really fun. But we weren't at WrestleMania ourselves experiencing that live experience firsthand. So, let's go do that. As I mentioned, one of the three components to figuring out if wrestling is cool or not is fan perception. We already found out what random non-wrestling fans think about it. Let's hear from some real WWE fans.
How long have you guys been watching wrestling?
17 years.
Oh, my whole life, since I was 6.
Yeah, like 30 years or something. Yeah. Probably since I was like 3, bro.
Since I was a kid.
And why do you like it?
The greatest form of art in the world.
I like the storytelling.
Because it's a form of entertainment that's unique to any other sport or any other television show.
I like how you got to be really athletic to be able to do some of the moves out there. People who saying it's fake, I get it, but sometimes they be slamming their bodies and putting on the line.
I mean, look around. This is community right here. Yeah, for sure. And it's just a good time, and we enjoy ourselves, and we always get a kick out of it.
And what do you guys feel about like people that say watching wrestling as an adult is kind of weird or kind of corny? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, we are proud.
You know, just like how people watch soap operas all the time, it's the same thing. You know, just gotta put your mind to it, and you understand the story. I think you'll understand why a lot of people like it.
I think it's whatever you want it to be.
Like everybody says, like wrestling is fake, but you can just watch like the Marvel, the Avengers movies, or watch Batman. Like Batman's not running around beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. I don't know why people don't be hating like that, man.
I feel like they just haven't given it a chance. I think that's what they gotta do.
It seems like across the board, wrestling fans don't really care about what other people think of them. And one thing's for sure, they all seem very passionate about WWE, which honestly got me excited for what's to come. After our interviews, it was finally time for me to go to my first ever Wrestlemania. And oh my god, why are we so high? Anyways, it was time to start the show, and this place was buzzing. The first match of the night was a triple threat between Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky, who Tammy dyed her hair to look like. Something that really adds to wrestling's coolness, in my opinion, is what many refer to as the women's revolution. Basically, over the last few years, women in wrestling have essentially demanded attention by being way too good to overlook. I mean, these girls straight stole the show and had one of, if not the best matches of the weekend, which fortunately was capped off by our favorite, Io Sky, winning the title. There were actually a bunch of crazy good matches throughout the night. I think the coolest thing about attending WrestleMania was 1,000,000% the atmosphere. The crowd was loud all night, excited, and on their feet for every single match. The energy just didn't stop, and it was super fun to experience. For example, Randy Orton had a mystery opponent, and I know for a fact none of you know who this is, but just listen to how over 60,000 people reacted when his music hit. The night was going great, and just like the previous night, it was all building to the main event. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. That's right, exactly a year after Cody brought me back to wrestling, I was about to see him defend his championship against the GOAT, John Cena, who was my childhood hero and wrestling in his last WrestleMania ever. You can't make this up. For those that don't know, John Cena actually became a bad guy a month prior to this, but that didn't seem to matter because it seemed like everyone in that stadium was rooting for Cena to win anyways. Not me and Tammy though, as we were staying true to the storyline. The match was decent, but most of all, it felt surreal to watch. I had both the guy I grew up watching and the guy who made me fall back in love with wrestling going head to head for the first and last time ever, and I was lucky enough to be there to witness it. So many things have happened in my life, just like anyone else, and there's probably a million other timelines where I never watched WWE again after childhood. But for some reason, it seemed like mere chance has brought me back to it. And while I was watching this match, I realized something. This whole video was pointless. After talking to other wrestling fans and being part of it myself, I realized how passionate they are about this. And honestly, how passionate I am about it. And how what other non-wrestling fans thought about wrestling didn't change that. We were still here, all 60,000 of us, joined together to experience what we love. So my rubric to find out if wrestling is cool or not is useless. Because in the end, all that matters is if we think it's cool. And I don't know about you, but I think this is pretty cool.
There were a lot of points throughout this trip where I got emotional. And I know from the outside that could seem kind of weird or corny over something as silly as wrestling. But it's more so me finally find something I'm passionate about. What seems like silly flips and gimmicks to a lot of people is art and storytelling to me. It represents community and love for something bigger than yourself. And being able to share that love with other people is one of the best feelings in the world. A lot of you might think I was dragging my girlfriend along for this, but no. I shared my love of wrestling with her, and she also fell in love with it. She even started training in wrestling in hopes of making the WWE. And these are memories I shared with her that I will never forget. So please, don't let weird stigmas stop you from finding things that you love. No matter what it is, find something you're passionate about. And don't let people thinking it's corny or uncool stop you from loving it. If you think it's cool, it's cool. I promise. And for me, WWE is pretty cool. So let's watch some wrestling.